my comrades, welcome back to today's video showcases the expanding Times Square district as I build architecture based on real life buildings in Minecraft, and I try to give you inspiration and motivation for your cities. So let's get into it. As first you can see in the video, I start with the Oakland turbine building that is in the center of downtown Oakland City, and there's some history behind it as well, and I will put a little bubble in the video if I ever figure it out. But this building, you can see the history of the building started in 1906 when it was originally a 6-story building. In my opinion, I'm glad that they changed it because it was questionable, and you can see the before and after photo of it. But it was the foundation of the tower being upgraded to what is now modern day Oakland. It was once owned by Beer Furniture Company. Sorry I butchered that. Then later, the building went through some upgrades and added more flooring in total of 20 floors, as his name was Edward T. Fulks, and he was the one who designed the modern day turbine building tower in Oakland, with the architecture design being Renaissance Baroque style with Spanish and colonial influences, with a steel structure, brick facade, and applied masonry as for why the building is so gorgeous and a historic landmark for Oakland and the people in it. So hope you and guys enjoyed that little summary of the Oak turbine building. And the blocks I used was variants of jungle wood, granite, blackstone, and much more. In the bottom layer of the building, you can see that I used copper, oxidized copper, I believe, and then diorite, polished diorite, blackstone, etc. I added seating areas as well as added entrances, shops, and more. And then we get to the roof of the small section of the building, and you can see me adding some HVAC equipment, utilities, and some buildings from the reference I use, which is mainly Google Earth, which I highly recommend if you are trying to practice on building and develop your skills. This process was time consuming, but it was well worth it seeing the results at the end. And now we get into the tower section of the building, which is I struggle a bit because of it was quite uneven, so to adjust to make it all even for the overhang part, I'm not sure what it's called, but you can see that I made the middle section bigger or smaller in a way than compared to the other windows, and I think that typical change was great, and it fitted all perfectly for the tower and the structure itself in total. And now you can see me doing the sides and the back, adding more windows, and then deleting some stuff, adding sections for the back too. It was hard to see in Google Earth because how pixelated it was, so I tried my best on that. Added a garage door and some other utilities along the side of the building, and then at the back I built more windows on the tower, and then started on the little platform section that you see, finally completing the back of the building with the granite and etc. And then we get to the second flooring of the tower section, I guess. You can see me laying out the foundation of sections that planned out from the reference, adding all that good stuff of the HVAC and utilities, and then adding more details along the back too. to the actual main frame of the tower itself. So I put direct walls and iron trapdoors all the way around the building, and then added more windows, which this part was a bit difficult to get the right shape, at least for the window design. And you see me continuing on adjusting and debugging a lot of the walls to get it right. Stacking more windows, make middle section window more wider as the rest of the windows so it could be even, and then adding some doors at the bottom. So because surprisingly it has doors too, it was just hard to notice because it wasn't really clear to me, at least on Google Earth. And then I continuing to build the top part of this section of the building. And once I did that, now we get to the very top. Well, almost to the top at least. And I added these pillar corners that the building have, and then laying out the foundation of the actual center of the building, which did take me a while, but I managed to do it, and the results were very beautiful. I loved. And the clock itself was amazing too. I'm surprised I got it, the shape and the details of it just perfect, but it was very time consuming though. Then I placed the front clock too, added some windows on the sides, added another clock, and then copy and paste and flipped it to the other side. And now I'm doing the actual roof of the building, and this part took me a few tries because the way its angle it is, the roof shape at least. And I did try a few different designs, as you can see here, and I managed to decide to do the one design that I really liked and it looked the most accurate. And finishing off with that, the top of the roof, and now we're going back down to the middle section of where the turbine letters are, and adding more railing, and I had to adding letters to it, the wording turbine. I did a bit on the railing to make sure it fits, and there we go. That's all I have built for the turbine building. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And next, is the building from Seattle. I always wanted to build since I first lay upon it, and this building was a mini version of it since I couldn't build exact replica, but I was pretty close to of it. But I wanted the whole block more unique. So once I started to lay out the structure of it, as you can see me with the red wool and trying to figure out the dimensions of it, how big it is, etc. And this building did take a long time to get all the shapes right and how I wanted to look like, as the same as the real building from Seattle, but a bit more different. I did take some inspiration from two buildings, as you can see. Me building the back of it, at least trying to sketch it, and I did want it to be like a staircase in the back, but then I quickly changed how the back was because later on I didn't like it, and I don't think it would have worked anyways. So instead I pretty much made a full replica of the Seattle building, but minor touches to make it more unique. So once I was done with that, then we get to actual main plaza of it. Put some tree planters, at least the layout, the planning phase of it, of where I wanted to have it. And then I added the staircase, which I actually sketched out, which you will see in the video of the actual sketch I wanted for the area to begin with. So I added the staircase, and first laying out the structure should be. I also built the third section of the building as well with the yellow wool, and then now we're getting to the actual structure of I would say a greenhouse canopy. I don't really know the name of the structure, but I just call it a greenhouse or glass canopy over it. And then added some pillars and more structure, and then added more details along the bottom side of the roof of the glass canopy. And now added some railings and much more to it. As you can see, me placing the stone stairs, the front and back as well. Added some hanging plants along the pillars, so like add some beauty. Then adding some seating to the plaza, botanical garden really. And then adding some vegetations like bushes and soon later be trees too along the stairway. Add some vines all across where the center of the section is of the plaza, and it came out really good. And then add some hanging lights, I guess you would call it, and then a massive chandelier, glass chandelier in the middle. And then making the actual sign in the front too. For the orange wool, those are the placement for the trees, Japanese maple to be exact. And then we got to the bottom of it, just adding some flower beds at the bottom of the pillars. I was going to build a overhead bridge, like a Japanese style, but I didn't like it, so I instead deleted it and then moved on to the staircase, which people could see from up top of the actual structure of the plaza, and then adding some vines on some of the pillars too. They give a more botanical feel if you guys ever been to one. And you see the 3x3 wood, spruce wood, that's on the largest section, flower bed section, and those will be the redwood trees that will be there. Oh, and added some hanging lights at the bottom too, and it came out really nice. I completely love it. And then adding some flooring, tiles to be exact, patterns design along the ground to make the place even more unique. And then once I finished with all with that, I changed it to stone and andesite as well. I also changed the white diorite walls to black stone walls too. And then I already placed all the trees because the replay does kind of fades out when I place trees. When I come back, when I teleport back to the trees I made and then back to the plaza, it kind of ruins the recording. So instead I just placed all the trees that need to be planted, and then planted the 2 redwood trees that are marked yellow wool, which later I will change to its proper leaves. And adding more details, making the trunks more wider, and adding more trees, more bonsai type trees. Really, I forgot what they were called, but I believe they were like a Japanese type trees. And then adding sign, and then the very top, since I knew the redwood trees will probably get a lot taller, I made 2 sections. No, I made 1 section, no 2 actually. 2 sections open up so they won't be so contained or hitting the glass canopy really. And I think that was a really cool feature I added. And then added more, added a staircase to the Seattle building, and then a flower bed on the side of it. And that's it for the Botanical Garden Plaza, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Next, Next, I added a stairway platform for the entrance of the office building and a flower bed on the side of it. And now adding some windows, window facade for the office building lobby, which I will be building later. Building the entrance and continuing along the side with the big windows I have placed until we got to the actual platform where the Botanical plaza is, and we're going back to the front of the office building and now adding a doorway and a small flower bed for a Japanese maple tree, which I'll place later. And now going back to the back section and adding more window facade. Made some few adjustments here and there and made the big section of the window differently from the rest, so to keep that uniqueness. And then on the side here will be the parking garage entrance, which the parking garage entrance will have 2 floors, and I added a ceiling for it, and then I had to move to the side a little bit because I wanted to put some interior. I wanted to know it to have enough room for the interior of what I was planning to do. And then added a loading bay next to it and a big window. And now getting into the interior part, which the normal stuff I did, which is adding elevators and stairways, adding some plantations, adding ceilings and flooring. Sorry for the quite dark, but it will change eventually. And then now adding couches and ceiling lamps, and added a front desk and another relaxing seating area too. I added some pink bushes along the side of the windows. I also put some bathrooms and employee only room too, a break room. Extending the seating area to adding the flooring, which is stripped oak wood and calcite in a 3x3 pattern design. So I hope you guys enjoy that interior design. And now we get to the big section of the back, which will be shops and restaurants. And I decided to delay one section of the back on the side to add some plants, more Japanese trees, and then going back and adding those undercover protectors that's on the sides of the buildings. I will have a pic of what recreate. And now I'm starting on the clothing place. I added shelves and clothing racks and some plants on the windows, lights inside too, and the name of the clothing place. I also added a office back room and a storage facility. And now I'm moving on to building the restaurant interior. And you can see me building the kitchen and the dining tables, including the bar and the front desk as well, doing the ceiling and ventilations. Also provide a bathroom inside, hanging lamps, and some more plants around the restaurant. And now we're getting into the smog section of the part 1 of the Seattle building. And this I have trouble of coming up with design for the bottom and the top, and I made some few changes which I will post them above in the video soon. So you can see I finished the bottom of the building, and that yellow part with the big windows will be a gym. And now I also sketching out the actual office layout, and now doing the elevator or stairway, which is the part of the lobby I have made of the layout I designed. And so I started to make the interior for it, and it was quite difficult because the way it was, I wasn't really keen on how to plan the interior design of it. So instead I kind of skipped it, and the office itself and the lobby. Now in the lobby itself I added the same things such as the other big office building. As you've seen before, I added seating, a front office desk, hanging ceiling lamps. Added potted plants, a walkway from the side to the platform, and then I added a entertainment area or a relaxing area for people, for the employees, and added tables for coffee and all that good stuff. Then going back to the gym and did the gym entrance, which is on the side in the Botanical Plaza garden. Added a stairway to the gym and also added a elevator for disability people as well. And then I continued the elevators to the red section of the office building, and then added a man and women's locker room in the gym. So I added bathrooms and lockers and showers too. So like a real gym, besides having a spa, it came out really good. I also added the second flooring to the gym, adding some lights as well. And I asked a friend of mine, Mello, or Yashi, as we call him, to build me some gym equipment, and I'm really thankful for him for building that. And now placing the gym equipment, as you can see here, adding some lighting in the room and changing the white wool soon to smooth quartz. Going back to doing the parking lot, which there's not really much to say for the garage parking lots, but basically I added the same things such as parking and the elevators, fire stairway to it, added recycle bins and trash bins, added back racks, lay out the pillars for the ceiling to hold the structure, then expanding the garage even more so. And the two buildings are actually connected, so I added that same garage entrance from the big office building. I connected to the small one on the other side, and I also did the same for that section, which is adding more back racks and elevators, shafts, and stairway too. And then adding the ceiling for the parking garage. Lastly, stacking the pillars as well. And then I did the same thing on the second floor of the parking garage. And now we are getting to the actual office lobby, and we're starting off with the bathrooms first, and a front desk and more seating areas for the public. Adding more seating areas for the employees, adding more plants and interior walls, which I will soon replace, adding some rugs and a lot more. And then on the second floor of the building, I added the entrance and designed the window facade for the building, which is basically light blue stained glass and blue stained glass pane too. I also made the side curved, so instead of being straight, it's actually curved a little bit. They give it more detail and structure. And once I was satisfied with the results, I started on the office itself, the office layout. And you know how it goes. I added a desk. I added the basics such as office desk, cubicle offices, and one meeting room. Added potted plants, ceiling lights. I also added a walkway from the side to the platform, added trees in the areas I have laid out, and vines along the walls of the turbine building, which you will see later in the video. I added a stairway case, then a pathway in the middle of the big one to get forestry feel, which is the ground beds, as you can see in the video. I added seats and much more. Then I move on to stacking the floors and adding the roof with HVAC with it, and then giving additional touches to finish off with the third small section of the office building, and hope you guys enjoyed that too. I'm really glad how it came out, and I'm glad I stuck with my original plans of the actual structure of the building I sketched out and took inspiration from. And then lastly, to finish it off with the whole third section of the whole project, I added a thrift shop with interior, and I'm not gonna say much to it, but I did add storage rooms, bathroom, added a bunch of custom heads to make the shop more alive, added shelves, etc. I also added a front desk as well as more plants, indoor plants, changed the interior walls to smooth sandstone with some spruce, shrifted spruce, and dark oak. I also did the same for the ceiling, which is diorite and spruce planks and spruce trapdoors. And that is all for the small third section, which is now complete. Next, and now here comes the fun part and the most painful one I ever did and the most time consuming I have ever done in a long while. So hopefully you enjoyed the paint I have done. But otherwise, I love the results and hope you guys will love it too. So I added the same things for the interior, added the window facade too. I also added the office cubicles and office meeting rooms too. I also designed an office desk as well for the employees, added bathrooms, and basically the same stuff on the rest of the floors. Although I did take a little time on doing the window facade and making sure each section is good and making sure that nothing else is broken or anything I left behind and I need to undo with world edit. Then we get to the back of the high-rise office building. I added a canopy with some struggle, but I continued to build it and even asked a friend of mine of what he thought of it, and the result came out great, which I am shout out to Doggo for giving me some advice for the canopy design, which I will show in reference, which I will show in the video, hopefully. I added 2 sections for the trees and plants will go, which will be in front of the canopy, and I was going to add a fountain but removed it because due to the space was limited, which sucked because who doesn't love the running water of the fountains. But anyways, going back to the high rise, doing more of the back end, adding a glass facade and stacking it up towards the roof, which was quite challenging because the shapes I made, I had to make it fit all perfectly and stacking up carefully so it doesn't ruin anything, including stacking the paintings, which is the computers, and not forgetting to stack up the paintings with world edit so I don't have to go back and replace each one of them later, and that is annoying. Making a few adjustments here and there, adding a cyan terracotta on the small outer section that comes out and the back period, because in the reference it shows the back section a little bit darker than the front section, so I changed that. I also laid out the orange wool birch facade too, which I will do later, and now stacking the white stained glass pane upwards, and at the same time I'm trying to stack it carefully and making sure that everything is intact so I don't have to do it later. And that was sucked because it takes more time and it's already late. I think it's around 2 o'clock at this time I have made this building, so I stayed for hours trying to finish this building, and I was very tired, but I wanted to make sure you guys get the great content and inspiration that you guys deserve. And now we're heading to the roof, which you already seen, basically adding more flooring, the basic stuff, but this was a little bit difficult since both sides were different. Supposedly it was quite annoying, but it wasn't too challenging, I would say. But I had to stack the elevators, shafts, and the stairways up to the middle section, which is marked out red wool. I added more detail details. Also later I will put HVAC utilities. I also added support structure within the middle as from the reference, and then adding some, the same things, HVAC utilities. It wasn't completely accurate, but due to the scale, which I believe is a mix of 101 scale, but I'm trying to make it as 1.5 scale. Well, look like 1.5 scale, but I don't know. And now lastly, stacking the glass panes all the way to the roof, fixing other errors I have made, and change the wool and replace it to its proper material blocks, which is basically birch and stone. Birch is for the orange and red is for the stone, and adding final details to it. And now lastly, hopefully you guys remember about the side of the turbine building, which I did not finish. I added a mural on the side of the building, and although it was quite hard to do from real life in a boggy game, it came out really good. So hope you guys enjoyed the whole video, and let me know of your comments. Subscribe if you like, or give me a like, and just let me know your thoughts on the video. Let's continue on rising our empire, and hope you guys enjoy the inspiration you have gotten. As long as you practice and you work towards your goal that you always wanted. And that'll be all. Thank you guys for watching the video, and thank you so much for the support, and make sure to share to others, and yeah, and have a good day, and God bless.